Good evening. My name is Ed Schmidt. We're over in Rector. But one of the things that seems to me that in looking at this...
Can you go to the mic?
Thank you. My name is Ed Schmidt. We're over in Rector, and it seems to me, as I've read a lot of the comments on this, half of the people want Ligonier to stay the way it is or was. The other half, there's discussions of what's here for young people or what isn't for young people. And it seems to me that whatever's being looked at, it ought to be a focus on what the young people will use. I mean, it's so it's just a suggestion, but I'd go to the high schools and talk to the junior and senior classes and say, what would you use if we had something here? Would you use, whether it's a swimming pool, whether it's fountains, whether it's walking trails? But it seems to me that they're the people to whom the major focus should be, and they're the people that in 5 or 10 years, if customs and circumstances would change, that they'll have to make the decision of what should be done in 5 or 10 years.
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
Thank you, Ed. Next.
I do have a question for Ben. Do you have an elevation as to 100-year flood? How high up would things have to be brought? I mean, the pool itself that shouldn't be an issue because it's water either way. I mean, you have to clean it up, yes. But for the pumps and stuff like that, they have to be elevated. So how far up do they have to go?
Depends where on site, but it would have to be at least 2.5 feet.
The pump house cannot be rebuilt because it's right next to the stream. It's in the floodway, cannot be rebuilt. And the filter house is in the same condition, correct? Both of those have to be abandoned. Doesn't mean that we couldn't put them someplace else, though. Right. And the buildings in general, as I understand it, need to all be raised about 2 feet. Is that correct?
That was the 2.5 feet.
2.5 feet. The buildings all need to be raised.
And that's all possible. That's a possible.
It is possible, yes. Correct.
Anybody else? Comment, please.
Yes.
Sir.
I'm Ralph Bennett, the Ligonier resident. I won't have to go into a lot of people here are old enough, not as old as me perhaps, but to remember, of course, what Ligonier Beach was for a very long time. I can remember when cars were parked on both sides of Route 30, out as far as Johnny Levis's, some of you might know where that was, and back to Peters Road because the parking lot was filled, especially on Saturdays and Sundays. And it was clearly a tremendous attraction. When the railroad was still in Ligonier, there was a common thing to have trains come in from Latrobe and people on those from beyond to Pittsburgh, getting off with their towels and picnic baskets and asking how to get to the beach. So it was a landmark, obviously, for passing motorists for many years, as it still is. But this isn't a time for nostalgia, but a time to dwell on the fact that Ligonier Beach has been a part of this town's history for almost half of this town's existence. Please remember that in whatever we do. Now, I know that there's a challenge, a huge challenge, as you've shown, to restoring, managing, and maintaining such a large and unique swimming pool. It's daunting, to say the least. I personally believe that it could only, as you've obviously decided, or at least leaning that way, it could only be successfully run as a private franchise of the township, run not by a committee, not by government employees, but professionally and for profit, with the rent and an agreed upon portion of the profits turned over to the township. But whatever the outcome of what we think about in our deliberations tonight and other nights, I plead with you not to dismiss the prospect out of hand of keeping this as a swimming pool.
That's right.
For the simple reason without changing the character of our beloved valley, a renewed Ligonier Beach could be an enduring attraction, not only for the people in the immediate area, but for those in the entire southwestern Pennsylvania area. And it would be, as well as it was and can be, an economic boon to the valley. Thank you.
Next.
We actually have there is no plan to close or to open or anything else. This is just an idea section and trying to get ideas from everyone in the community. And the decisions will be made later on, basically by the supervisor.
Larry?
Any estimate of the cost to try to get the pool open again?
Yes, we have a preliminary estimate, Ben.
Yes, the way we looked at this, we had to look at each component very individually because there are so many components and we didn't know where they were going to be. So Alec Hartwise, if you were to replace...
Step up to the microphone. Thank you.
I'm not sure what everybody heard, if anything. We had to look at each component very individually because we weren't sure where we were going to end up, but we knew this was going to come up. So individually, to replace the pool as is in place and provide all the components associated with the pool, we're estimating, and these are relative numbers or relative magnitude numbers, about $8 million to replace the pool as it stands today.
Anybody else, please, for a comment?
We'll get to you.
Okay, some of what I see for the beach is possibly putting an addition to the bathhouse, or, oh, closer, okay, or adding an individual building to house similar type of outdoor activities, and have something like the Sea Base or Chunk and Cheese that's in Greensburg. These types of facilities will provide year-round income. From some of my own experiences, I believe that with the rich history the valley holds, and if the center is designed as recreational and educational facility, you will more than likely open up doors to funding and tax credits. So what do you actually put in the activity areas? I recently turned in a detailed outline, so I'll only touch on some of the topics, and one of them was the flood issue. I've been doing a lot of thinking about this, and what if we can create something where water goes underneath some of what we're building there, rather than going over top? Now this could be done with gravel and pipes and things of that nature, or the flood time, that the water could actually just go underneath. And what I'm proposing is like having that extra building there, so you could put the gravel and the pipes, and that would be your elevation to get that up, and then put the recreational center on top of that. In addition to, if there is a complete allowance for this water to go through the property underneath it rather than on top of it, maybe we could do some diking to keep it away from the pool area. Thus, it would solve some of the problem of raising the other things up if we could just control that water a little bit. I understand you're going to have to go through a lot of permits and things for that to happen, but I mean, it's just a possibility. I'm just making suggestions. And then if we're able to put in that building, a lot of people have asked for like a boardwalk facility. So you could have in that new building, boardwalk on one side, your recreational activities on the inside, and then in between have little cubicles where you could have food outlets or different crafts or things associated with pools or things that are going on at that time. And again, these could be rented out too. So that would be some income that could provide for the year-round activities for keeping the place viable as well. And hang on here. Then, on the inside, what I was thinking, with our history in mind, maybe we could make like a jungle gym type of activity, like the Sea Base or Chunk and Cheese, and
and keep it to the theme of the fort and different things, activities that could be there. I mean, you could have dress up where they could put in costume. You could have a shooting type of gallery or something to that effect where you're defending the fort. In addition, I was attending a meeting where there is concern with the younger generation, and it's very difficult recently to get people to volunteer into the fire department or maybe becoming police officers. So maybe make an additional area where you can have activities in that theme as getting the children interested in these type of activities so they can help in the community and as they grow older. And I feel strongly that it is our duty to assist with educating the younger generation on these certain fundamentals of life. And we as a community can contribute it in accomplishing a portion of this at the Ligonier Beach with a recreational educational center. It can be a place where friends and families can bond, learn about and explore the history of the valley, and have fun together throughout the year. This information, along with a detailed outline I recently turned in, are only suggestions, and keep in mind that all of this does not have to be done at one time. Actually, doing this in various stages will more than likely be the best way to go, as you can request grant money for each new edition. I'll be more than happy to share any and all of my research and experience with anyone who wants to, including the comprehensive plan people, of what I've done. I was actually committee chairman for the Westmoreland County Historical Society's Preservation Committee for a number of years. I have over 35 years experience in working with the public and things of that nature. So I've done a lot of research, and I'm willing to give it to you and hopefully help with saving the beach.
Good, thank you very much. We appreciate those comments. I can tell you, I've been on the recreation board for some time, involved with a number of community projects, and there's always discussion on how to keep the young people here, including at the township level.
And then remember the surveys tonight, any comments you can place in that survey or send other ones in. Sir?
Hi, my name is Warren. My name is Warren. We moved to Ligonier about 9 years ago. And being an outsider from the city, there's an incredible draw and peace about this area that we have come to appreciate. The one thing that being outsiders, you sort of get a fresh look at things and an appreciation for things that maybe the people who were here for a long time sort of forget or maybe take for granted. And the one thing that we've noticed is that Mother Nature has the ability to shake that area off over there like a flea off of her back. With destruction, it was amazing to see that it's part of living where we live. With that said, I was at a place, and the lady that was just speaking, a place like that already exists near the airport. I think it's the old airport ice arena. They now call it the Landing. And inside of the Landing is a turfed play area that's the center of the facility. And there's a basketball court off of that. The Rotary uses it. The churches use it. They use it as a community center. My observation is that with your climate here, that pool is going to get used about 5 months out of the year. And I have great respect for the people that want to preserve that pool. I respect your opinion. But 5 months out of the year, is that going to be, it sounds like millions of dollars that are going to be required to refurbish that pool. And can you convince a businessman that it's worth it? But if we were to pursue a community center where our aged people could use it, our veterans could use it, our kids could use it. There was a restaurant inside of the Landing, as you pointed out, would have been a great thing. And it operates 7 days a week, and I went there on a Saturday morning for a birthday party for my grandson. You couldn't get a parking spot. So if you're looking to draw people from Latrobe and Somerset, etc., I can tell you from being a women's softball coach, you can't get indoor practice field anywhere. They'll show up at 4 o'clock in the morning if you let them onto the field. So, just a thought. I know it's not going to be popular with the traditional values that go back, and I have no memories of being there. So, but I do go to Soap Zone all the time, which I think a lot of people do. So, but thank you.
Thank you. Terry, we have a gentleman up here.
Hi, my name is Don Corsi. Nick Gallo was my great uncle. Most of you know Dick Gallo is the man who built the pool. My dad helped him build that pool when he was 14 years old. He and his brothers and sisters and a few other cousins. So, and I worked there from the time I graduated, from the time I started high school in 1949 until I graduated from St. Vincent College in 1957. So I can tell you a lot of stories about the place, and it was quite a place to work and quite a place to be at. I can be of a lot of help perhaps to some of the people who are involved in reconstruction, etc. I can tell them a lot of details about the place, how it was and how it was run. So if anybody wants to come and see me about that, I'm available.
And we appreciate that very much.
Thank you, sir. If you put your name on there, we'll get rid of it all. Thank you. Yeah, yes.
Hi, I'm Sharon Detter. I've been on the rec board for a long time doing a lot of things for young people.